Hello and a very warm welcome to this special edition of Talking India Ahead. I'm Saurabh Sanyal. What else? But the final countdown is our big focus today. In just a few hours from now, Chandrayaan will make its soft landing on the moon. 1 billion hearts are beating together as we speak. All eyes are literally fixed today on the skies. What's going to happen? Hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed. After all, 1 billion prayers cannot go waste. Prime Minister Modi will be at the ISRO Center in Bengaluru, and he will be flanked by a group of young enthusiasts of Young India who will be witnessing the space feat along with the Prime Minister at the ISRO headquarters. We have been getting you non-stop coverage of the final countdown, but as I said, in just a few more hours, India will script history of sorts. In fact, Chandrayaan will be landing at one particular place in the moon where no one else has ever ventured before, the dark spot or the south pole of the moon. What is it that is in store for us? What are the new revelations that we can expect? We'll discuss all that in greater detail. But first, to set this up, we thought of telling you a story of three friends who one day decided that enough is enough. We've had enough of our place under the sun. Why don't we take off for the skies? Why don't we head to the moon? That's the story that we have prepared for you. Quickly take a look.
Watching a circular object in the sky for years made Orbiter curious. Amazed by the beauty of the moon, Orbiter decided to travel to the moon. What, how, when were a few questions on the Orbiter's mind. Orbiter decided to take somebody along. Wary of visiting the not-so-known moon, Orbiter decided to talk to his friend Vikram.
Vikram, I'm planning to visit the moon, but I'm not sure how to go about it. And I fear landing on the moon. So what should we do?
Orbiter, many have visited the beautiful moon before. We won't be the first one for sure. Let's plan it.
But landing is difficult, and I don't know how it can be done.
Oh, don't worry about landing on the moon. I can land. I know it is difficult, but I can land on the moon for sure.
That sounds great. So we travel to the moon and you'll make the landing. Is that okay?
Sounds good. But let me tell you, I will only land on the moon. I won't roam around. I do fear the unknown.
I am interested in seeing the moon from a distance. You are interested in landing on the moon. But what's the point if we don't get to know this little known place?
Well, that's true. But I have a solution. You remember Pragyan? He's a rover. He can roam around the moon and click pictures for us.
Oh yes, I do remember Pragyan. But will he join us?
Well, let me try my luck. I'll speak with Pragyan. Hey Pragyan, Orbiter and I are planning to visit the moon. Orbiter says she wants to see the moon from a distance. And I am interested in landing on the moon. We want you to come along with us. I know you will be interested for sure in roaming on the moon.
Hey Vikram, yes, I'm surely interested in joining you guys. I'm really keen on roaming on the moon. It looks pretty beautiful from Earth, but how are we going to go about it?
Well, Orbiter has already arranged a vehicle. It's called the GSLV. It is a rocket. It can take us to the moon.
Oh great, but Vikram, let me make it clear to you that only I will share the pictures, etc. with you.
That's not a problem. You share with me whatever you see. I will share it with Orbiter. Done deal then?
Perfect. And how long will we be staying there?
We both will stay there for 14 days.
Alright guys, we are set. The rocket is ready and we fly out on the 22nd of July.
Let's visit the moon.
Hey guys, is all well?
Yes, but when will we reach?
We will reach closer to the moon on the 2nd of September. I will leave you guys to go ahead for the landing on the moon then.
So that means rover and I, we will be then on our own from September 3rd.
Okay, Vikram and Pragyan, good luck for your landing and roving on the moon. Vikram, make sure you reduce your speed for a soft landing.
Thanks, Orbiter. We will be landing on September 7th. Pragyan will start roving within 3 hours. I'll share all the pictures with you. Well, that kind of sums up the story of three friends who decided to go to the moon. Essentially, that's the story of the orbiter, the story of Vikram, and the story of Pragyan, who have become household names today. A billion hearts are beating together, waiting with bated breath for Vikram to land on the moon. But what's very, very important to look out for are those crucial 15 minutes. Vikram's speed has to be brought down to literally abysmal levels, which is extremely difficult for a vehicle which literally, think of it like as if it's like a plane which has been flying high up in the sky, and suddenly it is asked to maneuver its way through the dingy lanes of Chandni Chowk in the national capital. Well, that's the story. 15 minutes, as I said, and we are putting out those graphics on our screens also for you to understand this. But to help us decode this in greater detail, I have with me our Power Pack panel. I have with me environmentalist K. Siddhartha. I'm also joined in. We have in a way ensured that our margin of error is brought down considerably. Mr. Siddhartha.
Not exactly that we're going to call it as a margin of error. I will going to call it that is our capabilities have gone on to increase. Now understand it in this manner, that is we were quick to fix the helium leakage that was taking place in the tank and the liquid oxygen that was going to be kept there. That was one. And the second is when we're going to be talking about GSLV, imagine the payload capacity 3,800 kilograms to 1,800 kilograms of Chandrayaan 1. That is another part of it. Now our capability also in terms of the overall model of Chandrayaan is going to be very, very technologically sound, largely because the orbiter that is right now, this orbiter goes on to be carrying a spectroscopes, cameras and other sensors which will be able to track the amount of solar energy and particularly solar X-ray. That means some of those things like gamma ray bursts and other things that are going to take place. Now this is significant because the moon is bathed in such type of a solar energy.
Right.
And it is this bathing of the moon in solar energy that is responsible for fixing a good amount of helium-3. And you can imagine that if you're going to get even a bag full of helium-3 with us, it will go on to solve our problem of energy for 1 year of a complete time.
Right. But you know, now we're talking of reaching the moon, we're talking of landing on the moon. Mr. Siddhartha, I would want your point of view on that. Landing on the moon, that somewhere down the line, as we have talked to people across, the spectrum, there is that little question mark that still remains. Despite the fact that moon has low gravity and that the feat has been achieved before, why is it that landing missions to the moon have only had a success rate of only about 52% so far? And just in April, a private company from Israel sent a lander to the moon but lost communication with it midway. Why is this such a difficult task?
See, the first difficult task is, as you can go on to take a case study from our Chandrayaan itself, moon hasn't got an atmosphere. Now Mars had an atmosphere, so you can go on to land something with the help of a parachute. Even if it is that the speed with which the parachute can go on to fall is going to be higher. And you must have seen pictures of the last mission that took place on Mars from United States. And how is it that it was a big ball that kept on jumping, kept on chunking and ultimately came to a standstill. So we don't have anything called as an atmosphere in this place. That makes it very, very difficult.
Right.
The second part is landing is even more difficult because when you go on to separate the lander from the orbiter, then the mouth of the orbiter from which is going to be moving forward. Now you have to tilt it to make it land in this manner. That maneuvering, as Dr. Raja was talking about, is difficult job. Now when you again going to be start landing in that place, you don't have to land fast enough so that it can go on to whip up all of this type of a moon soil, so that it goes on to cling onto the surface of the Chandrayaan or surface of the lander, Vikram rather. that means you have to open only one of these thrusters, in this case a booster, so that the amount of dust that you going to whip is going to be a bit less in this case. Now, all in all, separation of it, then a tilting of it, then braking system of it,
Right.
then putting it in the right place, scanning the surface where you can go to land.
So it's like a cyclic process which is going to follow, and one will lead to the
And
other.
that too-
And all these little elements that we're talking about, every little thing is interlinked.
And Saurabh, that
interlinked
too-
and their functioning, smooth functioning, is critical to the success of the mission in the first place. Pranav Sharma, we're talking about the possibilities of what this mission is going to throw up as far as new findings for India, new findings for the world are concerned. We've also talked about the possibility of water being found on the moon. In very simple terms, for our viewers, help us understand, and I'm taking in questions from our viewers which have been coming in. Someone is asking that what's the big deal with water on the moon? Why is this something that is being so keenly watched by the scientific community the world over?
So here's one interesting conversation which I had with Professor C.S. Unnikrishnan yesterday during this conference. When Michael Faraday was asked when he discovered induction on what use will it be by an English gentleman, he said, I don't know, but you'll be taxing it in some time. So perhaps, this moon, the kind of technology that is being used to find water and the kind of water that we have, and we are running out of it. Of course, I'm not saying that we'll bring water from the moon, but what we are also thinking, if we end up colonizing moon, we have some support system, and perhaps the new governments which will form on moon may tax it.
Right, so that's very simplistically put, so to say, and for sure. But very
No,
very
but
nicely
I
explained
would
also.
like to add on
Professor
something.
Ramdas. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I follow.
Yeah, so I would like to add on something about this soft landing, which is much of a fuss, which we've been talking about, and because the territory is uncharted. When the First World War happened, there was a very curious battle which happened. It was called the Battle of Verdun. So it became a slaughterhouse because nobody knew how to fight in that terrain. So when you compare, so that is the kind of analogy we are looking at, where when Verdun was fought and there were armies which were fighting from various different directions, it became a slaughterhouse, as one gentleman from US wrote in his diary. So this uncharted place where this Chandrayaan 2 is landing, it is of that grave importance because we don't know what is going to happen. Because of what this 1.2 second delay between Earth and Moon, it is going to be a very autonomous thing which is going to be maneuvered by the lander itself.
Right, since we are talking of the landing per se, let's also get our viewers up to speed with what ISRO's chief K. Sivan had to tell India ahead. We spoke with him earlier in the day on the proposed soft landing on the moon, and he said that it is going to be a terrifying moment for sure. Let's listen in to what the ISRO chief had to tell India ahead.
Everything is in place, and we are seen that all the parameters are normal, and the team here is very confident that we will achieve the soft landing successfully. All are very, everything is going normal. All the things. Yes, India will be the first country going near to the south pole of the moon. It is the first country going soft land. Yes, sir. Because the technology we are the flying is a total indigenous. That is absolutely indigenous one, and either the orbiter, lander, rover, everything is indigenous. This one, and also that all the payloads also are indigenous. This one. And the whole world is looking with anxiety, that mainly because the place where we are landing is the place nobody else is on. So we are expecting that new science to happen. So that way the people are expecting in a big way. That way this particular mission is important not only for India, but for the entire world. And we will speak about all this maybe immediately after the landing, because it is okay. We'll speak more about that after that.
Right. So there, the ISRO chief, the man of the moment, so to say, the man in the hot seat, keeping his fingers crossed along with all of us, billions of Indians together.